it's an interesting article I read recently that was talking about how maybe Bill Gates should have done more drugs, right? And then it turned out that apparently he did actually do some drugs, and it was a really interesting article. That's why I brought it up.
I don't think there's anybody who's alive today in our industry that I respect more than Bill Gates right now. What he's done for the world has to be, we have to be just blown. He saved 10 million lives.
Yeah.
His leaving behind his company 10 years ago and focusing on his foundation because he knew he had some insights that he could save lives and not just a few lives, but millions of lives.
Yeah.
And it is something that we have got to look at and go, why do we not have more examples from our industry of people like Bill Gates?
Yeah.
Yes, he did his job in the industry, and you can judge that as you will in terms of how he did it. But since he left the industry and became a full-time philanthropist with the Bill, and his wife is phenomenal with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the work they are doing is unbelievable. And I just saw him at a conference. I have never seen a happier person. He has the biggest smile on his face and has the most joy.
Because Ballmer is leaving, or?
I think because of, well, I can get to that, because of what he's done for the world, which I think when we start companies and we create value,
let me ask you,
you've got to be a huge part of it. Okay.
Your philosophy.
And that's the end of that story. Forget the storytelling idea, actually. And we'll move on.
This is a clarifying question that actually is. Right. You've always given a lot, the sort of wave, 1% all the way through, but did he give much before he retired, or did he sort of save it all up? And
No.
Yeah.
He didn't. He really, and not only that, he didn't create a culture of philanthropy, which I think is the greatest opportunity as an entrepreneur. Yeah. The ability to give back is built right into every company in this room.
Yeah.
And your employees want to do it.
1% of your profits,
1% of your equity, 1% of your profits, and 1% of your employees' time. Is it so much to ask? The ability to give back is a jewel that is in every one of these companies that we start, that all it needs to be done is be polished. And that will sparkle and make your company so much better that you're not just in it to make a bunch of dough. And there's nothing wrong with making a bunch of dough, but make a bunch of dough and give back. It really is awesome.
You know, one thing that was hard for startups, if a startup right now said, hey, oh yeah, I'm just starting, it's easy when you're just starting to give 1% of your equity, but how do they do it? Like, it's actually pretty complicated trying to figure out through the lawyers.
It is not complicated. We have a website called sharethemodel.org. We have inspired lots of companies.
Oh, I actually didn't know that.
And we have helped them get set up. And it's not complicated at all. It's easy, and I think it's an imperative. I've written about it. I've written books on it. I help do coaching. We have more than 100 full-time employees in our foundation, and a lot of them will go out and help you to create your own foundation.
Who should be the next CEO of Microsoft?
Gates.
Whoa, 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 whoa. He's happier, he's done all this. You want him to stop helping the world because, well, that's important. It's not as important as him running Microsoft?
I think the only way to save Microsoft right now, because it is such a disaster, is he knew it needed to come back, not forever, but for a specified period of time, let's say 36 months, because he needs to push the reset button on two things.
Yeah.
He needs to push the reset button on his mantras that he installed in the company, like Windows everywhere and all this.
Yeah.
He's got a bunch of mantras, which are these processes that still run in the company that are not doing the company any good. And number two, he needs to push the reset button on people. Not just get rid of Ballmer, but he's got a lot of people in that company that he needs to either hit the reset button on. And there's nothing wrong with that. And by the way, they can go and get great jobs and do things in lots of other companies. But he's got to reset the company. And he's the only one, I think, who can really do it.
What was worse for the company?
I mean, I could be proved wrong, but I think he could do it. And he would have to take a break from saving the world. But his wife is so fabulous and doing such a great job, she can continue with that for 36 months or whatever the number is.
Yeah.
He can jump in there for 36 months, and then part of his 36 months is hit the reset button on the mantras, hit the reset button on the people, and hire the new CEO. Those are the three things he needs to do.
Do you believe this will happen?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just telling you what I would do if I was...
Yeah. Did you tell him this when you saw him last week?
I told Dan Farber, and he wrote it up, so it's all awesome. My work is done.
What happens to Microsoft if he doesn't come back? Do you think that they'll be around in 10 years?
Sure, of course, Microsoft will be around in 10 years, but in what role? 10 years ago, they had command and control over our industry, and today they are just, a very large company who likes to throw its, weight around and try to be disruptive.